Welcome to this impromptu, immediate edition of the Real Deal Podcast on this 18th of May 2018. First of all, stay dry. I mean, how about this rain is out of control? It's going to rain basically the next till, I don't know, till June. I mean, basically it's going to be raining till June. So stay dry out there. Just came back inside from the DMV from DC, so it's raining down here like cats and dogs. But we move on and try to do our very best for this particular program. I'm your host, of course, Ril Dil Quinn, taking you for the next I don't know until I stop talking. So how about that? A couple of things I wanted to touch on before we head into this weekend. Of course, busy sports weekend. You had the NBA conference finals restarting on Saturday night, Cleveland, Boston, and of course Sunday evening you will have Golden State. Golden State coming back home to take on Houston back at the Oracle on Sunday evening. A lot of people have issues also the Preakness Stakes and NHL conference finals. The Capitals, listen, I saw some Capitals fans on the Metro, and it's 2-2. Relax. That's 2 out of 3. Go down to Tampa. You've been great on the road. That's 2 out of 3. Handle your business. I don't want to see. I don't want to hear anything about the Capitals beating Pittsburgh, and you can't beat Pittsburgh and lose to Tampa Bay. I'll say that. So if you're a Caps fan, it's 2-2. That's 2 out of 3. Home ice clearly means nothing. So let's say it came down to a game 7 in Tampa. If it came down to a game 7 in Tampa, you closed out Pittsburgh. You closed out the Penguins at Pittsburgh. So I still think that the Capitals will be going to the Stanley Cup. It's just going to be a little bit harder than they thought. Again, Tampa Bay was not going to go down easy. Tampa Bay is one of the best teams in the league, one of the favorites to get to the Stanley Cup. They were not going down easy. So I don't, I think I would just calm down if you are a Capitals fan. It's not a choke job. You're going to hear it all. The city's going to be in a panic come tomorrow morning. But be easy. I still like the Capitals to win that series. We're going to begin with the NBA. The NBA, a lot of people complaining about the amount of days off that the NBA has, in terms of these conference finals in between games 2 and 3. Uh, it's been going on like this for years. This has been happening. I mean, this is going back to like I would say 2000. That they've had these long breaks, especially when even before they went back to 7-game series, all 7-game series that was started in the first round. So this is nothing new that the NBA will have these games. Remember, the NBA wants to stretch these games out. They're not going to start the finals before June. You never will ever see an NBA Finals game played in May. You have May sweeps. The NBA wants to dominate the television ratings for June. They're not going to be competing, against May sweeps on ESPN, ABC, TNT, or whatever. So you got to keep that in mind. You're not going. You will never see an NBA Finals game in June. So I don't make a big deal out of the games off. These teams should be fresh. In regards to what happened last night against Houston, if you're an NBA fan, you should be thanking the Houston Rockets because the Boston series to me is done. That series is over. It's either a 5 or 6-game series, in my opinion. There's no way that series is going 7. So, with this Houston Golden State game, if Houston goes out there and lays an egg last night, it's a sweep. So I think Houston, I'm not going to overreact to that win because Golden State did his job, and that's to take one game to steal home court. Now all Golden State has to do is win games 3 and 4. You're up 3-1. Series is probably over in 6 games. But I mean, this idea that you that Houston solved the Golden State mystery and they have this now magic Golden State Warrior potion that they've unlocked. I mean, give me a break here. I mean, if you think you're getting 68 points out of Ariza, Tucker, and Eric Gordon, and getting 24 out of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, I mean, like you can, that will never happen ever. That won't ever happen again in the series. You can book Klay Thompson and Steph Curry for 50 points in Game 3, if not more, but at least minimum 50 points, 45 to 50 points. Again, Houston had to have that game. They had to win that game. That was. I hate to sound cliches, but that was the epitome of a must win. When you lose Game 1 at home, you don't win Game 2. It's a sweep. Yeah, you lose the first 2 games of a series, it's a sweep. Give Houston. I'm not going to give Houston credit. Like they had to win that game. Again, I want to see Houston uh, do this for a second or third time, where they're moving the ball, minimum isolation, and again, you get 60 points or 50 points out between PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza, and Aaron Gordon. I don't think they can consistently do that or get that production out of those 3 guys. From a Golden State perspective, I don't want to hear about Steph Curry's injury. When Steph Curry came back against New Orleans, had 28 in the game, I didn't hear about it. When Steph Curry finished off New Orleans in the series in game, 5, where he had basically 28 and 8, nobody talked about his injury. He's on the court. Is he 100%? No, but he visibly, I've seen nothing that would indicate to me that he can't play at a high level. Just say he had a bad game or is not shooting the ball well. He's shooting. Listen, his field goal percentage, his 3-point percentage is 36%. That's still above league average, which tells me that he's healthy enough. Not like he's not shooting 20% from the 3-point line. So I don't want to hear any excuses about Steph Curry. When he has good games, we hear nothing. He has bad games. Well, maybe not 100%. The need. I don't want to hear it. Just say he didn't play well. So you have Golden State again. Golden State to me is still in the driver's seat. They have 2 games at home at hand. We know they're great in that building. They've been dominant in the playoffs in that building going back to last season. Have not lost a game with Kevin Durant in that building. Matter of fact, this is the first time that they've ever been even in a series since Durant joined them in 2000, of course, the summer of 2016. So you want to call that pressure, I guess. You can call that a little pressure, but again, they are headed home for games 3 and 4 with the series tied. They are clearly, to me, in the driver's seat. Again, I think Houston. Speaking of injuries, I wouldn't be concerned as much about Steph Curry as I would be Chris Paul. Remember, Chris Paul is not a spring chicken. He's 33 years old. There have been times in his career in the playoffs where he's physically broken down. He had a number of injuries this year, small injuries, nothing major. Again, he is not a spring chicken anymore. So that hamstring, luckily for them, that game was not competitive. They were able to sit him in the fourth quarter, give him some extra rest. He's going to have a couple of days off, but these hamstrings, these leg injuries can be tricky, especially with an older player who has injury history. And again, not major injury history, but nicks and knacks, little things that have started to add up over the past 4 to 5 years as he's gotten older. And again, despite the fact that he's had minimum playoff success, he does have a ton of mileage on him, being 33 years old, playing the international competition, things of that nature. So I would be a little concerned if I were Houston about Chris Paul moving forward, especially if this series goes, 6 or 7 games, which still remains to be seen. But especially the longer the series goes, you know, Paul is also always a candidate to break down in the series physically. As far as Cleveland Boston, we know that series will resume on Saturday evening. Fully expect Cleveland to win Game Three. Game 4 will tell you all you need to know about this series. Whether it's going to be competitive or whether it's going to be a Boston coronation and a new king of the Eastern, with no pun intended, of the Eastern Conference. Again, in those first 2 games, there's nothing that I've seen that would indicate to me that Cleveland can make this, can be competitive, can let alone win this series. You're talking about a game 2 where LeBron was dominant and they got smacked and they got spanked by 13 points in a game where they were down one, were down in a game where they come in already coming off a 25-point loss. So I, the Golden State comeback. Everybody keeps saying, don't count LeBron, don't count Cleveland. These are not your father's Cleveland Cavaliers. These are not a Cleveland Cavaliers that defeated Golden State, and it took a multitude of things to happen for that to even occur. It's not the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who else? That took out the Boston Celtics. Excuse me, took out the Detroit Pistons in 2007. That team actually played defense. This Cleveland team, defensively is a joke. Defensively, they are an absolute joke defensively. Cleveland team looks a lot like the 2014 Miami Heat. Maybe even with maybe even with less talent. So I expect Boston to get one of the next 2 games. Um, I don't think the series goes more than 6 games. I would not be surprised if Boston closes the series out in 5. I really wouldn't. I mean, again, LeBron cannot play. He's not going to get 50 and 20. He's not getting 50, 20, and 15. He really can't play any better. And what's happened will happen now is, you'll see LeBron have a big. I fully expect him to go out there in Game 3, have one of those 15 to 18 point first quarters. First quarter, 24, 25-point halves. We saw in the Indiana series. Can that be sustained over 48 minutes? Because right now, J.R. Smith is giving them nothing. Right now, Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. are giving them nothing. Outside Kevin Love and occasionally Kyle Korver, the rest of that team, I don't have. You can't have any confidence in the rest of that team. And to me, listen, LeBron's always going to be the story, but I could put that story on hold until the summertime because he's going to dominate the free agency and that whole and that that whole narrative. To me, the story is the story is Brad Stevens because this right now is shaping up to be one of the great coaching jobs in NBA history. I mean, the guy is going to go to the NBA Finals losing without 2 All-Stars and without their best player. Now, whether or not you think you could say Tatum or Al Horford is definitely a better player than Gordon Hayward, definitely more valuable to this team than Gordon Hayward. But the bottom line is Kyrie Irving is their best player, and Gordon Hayward is an All-Star. You have 2 All-Stars on the bench, and you're 2 games away from the NBA Finals. People say Brad Stevens gets too much credit. He doesn't. To me, he doesn't get enough credit. This is one of the great coaching jobs in NBA history, by far, what this guy is doing with this team. They believe, they know. And listen, to me, you look at a coach, you're looking at just you're going beyond X's and O's. We know how these great out timeouts. We know this guy's like a chess man, a grand master in terms of chess with some of the moves he makes and adjustments. The adjustments have adjustments. The bottom line is you want to gauge a coach. Look at how they're young. Look at how young talent develops. Look at what Marcus Smart did in that game too. Look at Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown. Look how his talent had Terry Rozier. That's how you gauge how good a coach is. How much how much development, how much the young talent is developing. That's why, as a Laker fan, I kind of had to give Luke Walton a pass this year because I wanted him out. I wanted him out after last year, considering because I didn't feel like the talent was developing. But based on this year with Randall, Ingram, guys like that playing ball, he deserved another year based on how much those guys improved over the course of this season and how much they fought. But Brad Stevens has done that times 10 with the players that they have. Now they have better players. Tatum's going to be an all-star. Jalen Brown's going to be an all-star as well. Jalen Brown's going to be one of the better two-way players in the league. Like, Kawhi light, not as good as Kawhi, but not notch below Kawhi Leonard. He's that type of player. So again, I don't see any. There's nothing that I saw out of those first two games where Cleveland. I don't know what Cleveland can do. To be honest with you, they again just outside of hoping that Boston comes back down to earth. Now again, Boston has lost four road games. They lost three to Milwaukee, and easily could have lost two against the Sixers. Probably should have lost two against the Sixers, but lost. Of course, our game four against the Sixers. So they've been a little shaky on the road, but right now that team that is they are a confident basketball team, and not they're confident but yet humble as well as far as not getting ahead of themselves. And with this coach, they will not get ahead of themselves. Again, recording this on a early Friday morning. This will be on Blog Talk Radio. I want to say probably Friday evening, maybe early Saturday morning, but I'll try to get in by Friday evening. Live on my YouTube channel. This is the Ril Dil Podcast with your host, Cyril Gerald Quinn. You will be able to you can follow me, of course, on Instagram at Ril Gerald Quinn, or go to my Twitter account at William Gerald. Wanted to touch on the Larry Nassir settlement. Of course, Michigan State will settle with 332 victims for $500 million. $75 million has been set aside just in case other victims come out. It looks good on paper and in terms of public relations, but you go beneath it. All Michigan State did was write a check. That's all they did was write a check. And again, I hope all the victims use the money to get the best medical treatment known to mankind. We know that that sick maniac ruined lives and multiple lives. So I'm fine with the money from the standpoint of the victims getting the best possible treatment known to man to deal with this, to deal with this nightmare that they had to go deal with, that they had to go through with the sexual abuse. But I'll say this: if Michigan State wanted to show some guts, then Mike D'Antoni and Tom Izzo both should be out of jobs. Period. A lot easier to rate. It's much easier to write a check than it would be to replace those two coaches who have, over the course of their tenure, built powerhouse programs with the football, the basketball, and football teams. But that won't happen. I mean, they don't have the guts to get rid of those two guys. So what do? You write a check for $500 million, and instead of people focusing on the two coaches who you know who had players who had players get away with stuff like this. You focus on the $500 million check, and you focus on Larry Nasir, Nasir, excuse me. But both of those coaches have had players who have had sexual assault allegations and have had players. Both of those coaches have some dirt on their hands, dirt under their nails in regards to this. So again, I think Michigan State just did. You can't do a worse job than handling the situation, having this go on for years on top of years. And again, to me, the $500 million does not even come close to forget about erasing this, but to even I don't know outside providing medical treatment, mental health treatment and therapy for those victims. I don't know what it accomplishes uh, for the university. I don't know what like Michigan State is still to me an embarrassment. There's no way in the world that if I had a high if I you had a high school if you have a high school kid who wants to go to college, that Michigan State would even like. There's no way you send your kid to college there. No way, not in a million years. You ever send them to Michigan State? So again, this program recording on a Friday morning. I will see you